The SEC has approved options for BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. This is big. And America's oldest bank, BNY Mellon, may be able to custody crypto very soon, bypassing the SEC's SOB 121. And another major Wall Street player is doing tokenization. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we got a lot of big news to cover, so make sure you watch and listen to the end. But let's start with Bitcoin and what's happening in the macro and the setup here. I want to share a couple of thoughts, one from Chris Berninski and the other from John Bollinger. So Chris Berninski, he used to work with Cathie Wood. He's a part of a VC, and they do a lot of investing in crypto. He says crypto is now emerging from a textbook early bull reset. While the path remains volatile, don't get shook. So he's saying don't get shaken out, of course. And it's not too late if you're sideline. So 2023 was phase one. That was the come out of the bear market. We had a run up last year, Bitcoin continuing to move up, of course. This year we had another run up, but then more consolidation. And we've been in a consolidation sideways move for a while now. And it's pretty much Bitcoin cooling down after a faster than expected run up due to the ETF buying, right? It hit a new all-time high before the halving. It never did that in its entire history. So Bitcoin is more normalizing, getting back on track. And now we're getting ready to hit the phase three, which is the final phase of this bull market. And the macro is setting up for a blow off top. So Chris continues, he says, it's not just favorable rates and liquidity that are promising for our asset class. It's maturation of the infrastructure, builder experimentation with apps, and continued user growth with active addresses 3xing in the last year. Yes, the addresses are only a proxy for users. And he shared some charts to go along with this. So this is what these guys at the VC firms and the hedge funds are looking at. And they're looking at the macro, they're looking at the charts, they're looking at different data, not their feelings or emotions. So that's what I try to hammer home here on this podcast to help you all become better investors, that you become a contrarian to the herd and unplug yourself from the matrix, so to speak. That matrix will be Jim Cramer and financial TV shows, right? Which give you narratives. They don't show you charts and data and so forth. They just give you narratives. And oftentimes they're in playing with the Wall Street crowd. You know, they have them on as guests and they put out a narrative, whether they're long or short, but it's not to benefit you. So you have to do your own research, understand the data and the charts, and get an idea where this market's at, not how you feel, but what is the data telling you? What thesis do you have that's backed by data? Now, John Bollinger, who is the creator of the Bollinger Band, as many of you may have heard about that, he tweeted today, nice little W pattern on the weekly for the Bitcoin USD chart. I drew a regression channel to highlight the flag that is forming, bullish setup, awaiting confirmation. So Bitcoin, obviously over 63,000. Let's see if this is the true breakout to new all-time highs. It may not yet be. It could still roll over and test some support levels before finding that bottom and moving up. And we're, of course, past the halfway point in September. So this month is usually a red month for markets. So maybe towards the last week of September, we start to see Bitcoin find a lot of strength and starts moving. I don't expect alts to do too much. I think Bitcoin has to steal the show and run up. Then the liquidity will flow down to ETH and the other alts. If you've been a viewer and a listener of this podcast, you know that's how the market has flowed. I've talked about that a lot. And your favorite coin is not decoupled from this. Bitcoin controls the market. You may not like it, but you have to accept that fact. If you want to make money, you really have to understand these things. It's not about your emotions. So very bullish signs here, and I'm excited, guys. Now I'm talking macro long-term here. I'm not talking tomorrow or next week, right? So please understand where I'm coming from. Now, here's the big news of the day. The SEC has approved options for BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF IBIT. Eric Balchunas, ETF expert at Bloomberg, says SEC has just granted accelerated approval for the listing and trading of options on IBIT. And he says, I'm assuming others will be approved in short order. Huge win for the Bitcoin ETFs as it will attract more liquidity, which will in turn attract more big fish. This is a nice surprise regarding the timing, but not a shocker, as James Seyfert and I gave a 70% odds of approval by the end of May. So their timing was a bit off, but they knew the approval was coming. He says, important note, this is just one stage of approval. The OCC and CFTC have to approve as well before they can officially list. The other two don't have a clock, so not sure when they'll be approved. A big step, though, nonetheless, that the SEC came around. Now, I know there are some people who are a bit worried about this because options, put and call options and so forth. But look, these are products that are available in the market, so we can't do anything about that. This is why you want to make sure you have a plan so you take your profits and you don't get caught in any of the bear market scenarios where these things could contribute to that. So, but there's nothing we can do here. These are financial products that exist in TradFi. Of course, they're going to exist in crypto, and as Eric says, is going to attract more liquidity and more big institutional players. Michael Saylor weighed in on this news. He said the approval of options for IBIT will accelerate institutional Bitcoin adoption. Now, Michael was on a tweet storm today and he highlighted a lot of bullish news. So he says credible rumors are circulating that one or more major banks in the US will soon be able to custody Bitcoin. So he referenced an article titled BNY Mellon identified as first bank to receive SEC exemption from SOB 121. On Monday, during a public hearing in Wyoming, BNY was named as the bank that received an exemption from the SEC's onerous rules for custodying digital assets. So we know the SEC's bullshit rule, SOB 121, which was repealed in the House and Senate, but ultimately Biden vetoed that repeal and got called out by the Government Accountability Office as being unlawful. It prevents these banks from being able to custody crypto. BNY Mellon is America's oldest bank and the largest custodian in the world. So they custody a lot of assets, right? But guess what? They can't touch Bitcoin or crypto. Why? Because Gensler has been blocking it. So there's a lot of controversy here because some people are calling out the SEC. Why are you being hypocritical? Why are you not getting rid of this rule? And why are you picking favorites? But we know Gensler is a Wall Street guy. The calls are probably made. It could be JP Morgan is saying, hey, halt this because we want to control this market, right? So JP Morgan is not going to want the other banks to get ahead of them. But look, who knows? I don't know how the details, but this is very bullish if banks are going to be able to hold digital assets directly. We know this is going to happen eventually. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's just when. So if major banks in the United States can custody crypto, guys, get ready. Get ready. For years, I gave the mock scenario, right? Your bank will call you up. Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, we offer crypto. Would you like to buy Bitcoin? And guess what? We can custody it for you. You can, we'll put it into your normal report, which shows your stocks and all these different things. You come buy it through us. We'll take care of everything for you. That call, that email, whatever is going to be made, folks. And the ETFs are going to help speed that process up, as many wealth managers and RIAs are doing that right now. So incredible stuff. Now, we also got validation of this news from Dennis Porter, who heads up the Satoshi Act Fund. And I had a private conversation with Dennis recently, and he's doing so much work in the industry, guys. He doesn't get the big news headlines and so forth, but he's making a lot of progress, getting a lot of bills through and a lot of dialogue and conversation started. He said, today we got news that BNY Mellon Bank was allowed to custody Bitcoin and BlackRock was approved to offer Bitcoin ETF options. I promise you are not bullish enough. So Dennis knows a lot. I'm going to try to get him in an interview, but guys, bullish times are ahead. Michael Saylor tweeted out that they bought more Bitcoin. MicroStrategy bought more Bitcoin. He says they acquired 7,420 Bitcoin for $458.2 million at approximately $61,750 per Bitcoin. This guy is a Bitcoin addict, man, but it's incredible, guys. They hold over 252,000 Bitcoin now. Man, this is going to pay off really well. Really, really amazing news. Now, on the note of Bitcoin, Matt Hogan of Bitwise, who I've had on the podcast many times, he tweeted out today, about to orange pill a room of financial advisors that manage over $1 trillion at the Barron's Top 100 conference. Wish me luck. All of these ETF issuers, right? Bitwise has its own ETFs, are going out speaking to RIAs and wealth managers. And you're not going to get all of them on board right away, but a good amount. And we've seen the dominoes are falling. A lot of them are already pitching it to their clients. And BlackRock and Fidelity and these big names being in the industry brings validation, right? It puts any questions about the validity of the asset class to the side. So we're still in the early innings of these people pitching it to their clients. And as Bitcoin's price starts to rise, watch when we hit 100,000, what's going to happen. You're going to see the phone calls and the text messages and media coverage. Everybody's going to wake up because that's a nice big round number, right? And 100,000. Many people who are naysayers and skeptics are going to be like, what? I should have bought some Bitcoin. And you know what happens next, right? Many of them who didn't do their research, who are not financially educated, will enter the dumb money crowd. Some may be able to make a nice return, but many will buy at the wrong time because they have the herd mentality. And this is what I talked about at the beginning of the podcast. You got to break out of that herd mentality, folks, and do be a contrarian. Now, this content is brought to you by our sponsor, BitGo. BitGo is a top-tier crypto custodian, folks, headed up by Mike Belshi. They are working with many big companies in the industry, many big brands, you name it. They're working with hedge funds, exchanges, and so forth. And they're also planning to launch a stablecoin very soon. That was big news that came out this past week, USDS stablecoin, and that's going to be for institutional investors. Some of the companies that trust BitGo include SUI, Bitstamp, the exchange, Panthera Capital, that's Dan Moorhead, 21 shares. That's an ETF issuer. So they have wallet services, prime services, just a ton of options. They have a self-hosted wallet as well that you can use to custody your crypto. Nike uses BitGo to custody its NFTs. So if you'd like to learn more about BitGo, go to bitgo.com, link in the description. Now, we got another major player entering the tokenization space, and that is WisdomTree. So Nate Geraci here highlighted that $100+ billion asset manager WisdomTree has launched platform designed to offer seamless access to tokenized real-world assets. WisdomTree Government Money Market Digital Fund now available on this. Tokens initially minted on Ethereum. He says, paying attention yet? Folks, this is not making major headlines on CNBC, CNN, Fox Business. But if this is where I created this podcast to share this news so you can know what is happening. Who are the big players building, investing, and what are they doing? And I've been telling you guys for years, I've been beating the drum. We're headed to the token economy. Everything running on the blockchain. Cryptocurrencies and digital assets is just one aspect. NFTs is another, DeFi, and you're going to have tokenized securities, tokenized bonds, tokenized real estate. All of that is coming, and you're going to have a truly global market 24/7, 365 days. No more opening and closing bell. That's going to be a thing of the past, folks. Some people may do it for sentimental value or whatever, but once stocks go on the blockchain and it becomes borderless, this market, it's going to be wild. And you want to be holding the token for the blockchains that are being used for the tokenization. So notice he mentioned Ethereum. So I'm an ETH token holder. I believe ETH is going to do really well this cycle, possibly 9 to 10,000, possibly higher. And I'm ready to take profits on that. So exciting times, folks. Don't let the short-term price volatility shake you out. Look at all the factors. I'm not saying blindly invest. Go in and do the research yourself, right? I encourage people to always do that because knowledge is power, and you knowing this information and at least knowing enough to be dangerous. You don't have to be a Wall Street technical analyst expert. I'm not, but I know enough to be dangerous where I can't be fooled. If someone just puts out a narrative, I go and look at the charts. I got to go and look at the different facts and metrics. Is that narrative right? Right? Or is it false? So, guys, big things are happening. And as we enter the next phase of the bull market cycle, I actually tweeted about this the other day. Make sure you're doing maintenance and updates to your wallets, your hardware wallets. I did that recently for my Ledger hardware wallet. If you want to get one, link will be in the description. And I made sure all the software is up to date. I make sure everything was secure. I also went on the exchanges and checked my KYC and all my connections. Everything is good. I have accounts with many different exchanges. My sponsors Uphold, Gemini, obviously Coinbase, Kraken, Crypto.com. So if one or two are having problems due to a lot of activity, I can easily jump to other exchanges to cash out or do what I need to do. So make sure you have a plan. What are the price targets you're taking profits at? Your hardware wallets and your exchange accounts are all up to date, security checks in place, and be patient. Be patient, folks. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Folks, don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter. Link will be in the description. It's 100% free. Also, be sure to grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto. It's available on Amazon in digital and paperback. Support the podcast by buying a copy. It's only 18 bucks. The digital version is like 10 bucks. Buy a few copies for your friends and family who want to learn about crypto. Give it to them this holiday ahead of the blow off top, right? So they know what's happening. And if you bought a copy already, please leave a rating and review. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.